Cool. So the vocal melody is pretty cool, but the lyrics are what really matter here. So they essentially spill out the theme, which is a reflection of the toxic relationship that he was in and him just trying to figure out what happened. Again, this is not like mind-blowing stuff for songwriting, but I think that there is a few interesting twists here. So first off, it's from the male perspective. And a lot of times, especially in 2026, if you're getting a song about a toxic relationship, you are getting it from the female perspective. And I think that this is kind of an interesting twist where it's like a heavy song about a toxic relationship. Exact same topic as a lot of songs we get today, but it is very masculine. And so you get lyrics like, it's a little hard to leave when you're going down on me, because we were good in bed. It didn't matter what you said because we were good in bed. It's like very masculine perspective in terms of the lyrical choices. A couple things going on here, and I'm going to preface this by saying I know that breaking down lyrics like this is like, it's probably the least sexy thing you can do. It's like super, super unsexy to talk in detail about like sexual lyrics. But that is the nature of this show, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to do it. So basically, these lyrics are meant to be a couple things. They're meant to be reflective on the toxic relationship, maybe even evoking a sense of like, man, well, I was an idiot for getting into that. They're meant to be raunchy and sexual so that there's a part of you that's like, man, the sex was so fucking good though. And then on top of that, they're meant to be kind of fun. Overall, this song doesn't take itself too seriously. And, that's kind of the interesting thing is like, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but they take the art of songwriting seriously while making this song. And so this is meant to be, first and foremost, kind of a fun song. But what I like about it, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it, is that despite being kind of a fun song, fun doesn't mean shallow. And I don't think that this is a shallow song. I actually think it's a pretty unique take, or not even a unique take, because you hear this take all the time. It's just that they took a very common song topic, which is toxic relationships, and they found a really specific niche for it, which is what does it feel like to kind of reflect on the toxic relationship? And then they were able to really hone in on that very well and kind of nail it. And this is really the meat and bones of why I wanted to talk about it, because you don't have to write a song about some specific random obscure thing to make a good song. You can write about something very normal, very common, even cliche. And if you just put the extra work in to get lyrics and vocal melodies and guitar parts and song structures that are interesting, you can get something really cool and really good. And, it's funny with this song in particular, because the song is not really what I think a lot of people would think of when they think of Nickelback. And I don't even know if I would consider it like a popular Nickelback song, but it has over 30 million views on Spotify last time I checked. Here, let me double check it again. But this song is definitely, no shit. I did not mean to play it again from the start. Yeah, the song is by no means like an unpopular song. It's actually kind of a banger of a song. It's just that damn, it's not showing the do I have it? Hold on. There it is. Yeah, so it's got 35 million plays on Spotify, which is pretty good for a song that came out 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. Now, of course, compared to like Photograph has 390 million, Far Away has 500 million, Rockstar has 760 million. So it's like, okay, obviously this is a hugely popular album. It's kind of hard to compare it to, it's maybe one thing to say that like, all right, this is a popular song. It's an unpopular song in comparison to the other songs on the album. Anyway, point being, it's a fairly standard song, but they just did a good job with it. And And you can do that by having a unique perspective or a unique idea with it, good vocal melodies, and cool lyrics. And so these lyrics, let's really dive into them because I think that they're cool. So he says, I guess it wasn't really right. I guess it wasn't meant to be. It didn't matter what they said because we were good in bed. I guess I stuck around so I could watch us fight for all the wrong reasons. Damn, I can't even say it. I guess I stuck around so I could watch us fight for all the wrong reasons. And then he says, no, it didn't matter what I tried. It's just a little hard to leave when you're going down on me. I guess I stuck around so I could watch us fight for all the wrong reasons. Give me a second. I'm going to drink some water. Holy cow. It's a mouthful. And that was not innuendo. Anyway, so what's kind of funny with this perspective with these lyrics is that, again, they're very open to interpretation, not in terms of what he's talking about, but how you perceive them as a listener. It can be many different things to many different people. Some people could look at this and say like, God, what was I thinking being in that relationship? I stuck around for the wrong reasons. Other people could think, man, that relationship was definitely toxic, but I sure did love it. And so, yeah, it's cool the way that he's structured these lyrics to not really make a definitive statement yet, but to more of just explain like the conflicting feelings that you have, where it's like, it wasn't right, wasn't meant to be, but we were good in bed. Everyone, it didn't matter what I tried, didn't matter what they said. It's hard to leave when you're going down on me. So yeah, one song that this kind of reminded me of was that song, what was it? I Like the Way You Kiss Me by Artemis. It's a more recent song, like I like the way you kiss me, I can tell you miss me. I think he says like I hit it from the back just so you don't get attached. Obviously this song is taking a bit of a different angle. I think that it actually has more like lyrical depth to it, which gives it more staying power, I believe, because I haven't heard anyone talk about Artemis or that song since it came out a year ago. But it's a similar vibe where like these types of lyrics, this kind of like raunchiness can be really fun. And it is. It's a fun song. It's a lot of fun to listen to. So, yeah. And honestly, I would rather get something like this that's a little raunchy from the male perspective, a little bit, talking about girls going down on him, than another fucking toxic relationship song from some modern day dude where he's just crying and I'm so sad. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm sick of that shit, bro. I'm sick of it. We need to bring back some white boy butt rock. Get the dad rock back. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. That's the vibe where the singer is conflicted. He was in a toxic relationship. He's thinking about it, and it was fun, but maybe not the best for him. Maybe they got a little dramatic. Maybe they're like throwing things at each other. But overall, we're kind of having fun. So yeah. Let's keep going. So we go back into the sort of dramatic pre-verse again. I forgot. I reset the damn song. My bad. Hold on. This is like my most scuffed episode ever. So we're back. Same thing. I'm just going to skip it. We get to verse 2. Cool. So everything's the same musically, nothing to really talk about. But, this is the second verse, and the second verse is, it's meant to just kind of introduce a few more plot, expand on the conflict. So when we first started in verse 1, I love doing this, by the way. And this is, if I could give anyone advice, like analyzing lyrics, always analyze the first verse and compare it to the second verse and make sure that like, okay, are you developing your story? Are you developing your theme or your idea? So in the first verse, he says, I wanted you, I wanted no one else. I got you to myself. But then he says, you got off every time you got onto me, and I got caught up in favorable slavery. Now, obviously, he says like favorable slavery. So he's like, maybe he kind of wanted it. But he is still implying like this girl just gets off on like either, obviously getting on top of him, but also maybe talking down to him and like berating him and causing him problems. But now we get into verse 2, and we get a different side of this, where maybe in the first verse he was like, I wanted you, but then you turned out to not be what I expected. We get into verse 2, and it's, you know my friends, they know your enemies, meaning, and that's your YOUR. So they know the trouble that this girl has gotten up to. So the friends don't like her. And so then our singer says, I'd pretend, our singer Chad Kruger, I'd pretend not to hear what they said to me, talking about his friends, because I got off every time you got onto me. Was it wrong to go along with insanity? So again, I want to be clear. We're not talking about like lyrical fucking masterpiece here, okay? We're not talking about that. But what we are talking about is just like, yeah, he is giving a new perspective. He's developing the conflict here, which was, you know, maybe in verse 1, oh, this girl is crazy. I was caught up in slavery. Now he's actually saying, no, I actually kind of liked it. And I got off every time he got onto me. You know, I didn't listen to my friend. My friends were telling me not to do that. I actually like was into it, you know? And he ends it with really that main point of conflict, which is, was it wrong to go along with insanity? Was it wrong to do this? Which actually, I wanted to bring this up. And this is something kind of interesting. This is a little bit of a nuance, but you don't hear this in a lot of songs. He's actually questioning, like, was it wrong to do that? And then in the chorus, he says, I guess it wasn't really right. I guess it wasn't meant to be. I know that could be like, oh, it was right. It was the wrong time or something. But no, I don't think so. I think he's saying like, it wasn't right for us to be together. It was the objectively like wrong thing to do. And I kind of like that. I don't know. I would need to look at other songs and see how often they talk about like, it was wrong for me to be with you, or it was right. I guess they do now that I think about it, but I just like the fact that he's questioned. Again, I think that it's just very on theme for the song. This idea of like, was that the wrong move? Did I make the right choice here? Was it, you know, maybe, I guess it wasn't really right. I guess it wasn't meant to be, but it's a little hard to leave when you're going down on me. You know, it's like, that is the conflict. Anyway, point being, this verse basically establishes that he wasn't just some like willing, like a slave, basically. Like he said, he wasn't just some slave caught up in it. He was into it. He was into it. He was digging it. And now that we have, that brings again that a little bit of a new perspective on the chorus, where it's like, maybe before we were thinking, man, this girl, she's really wearing him out, and he just kind of stuck around, and it was hard for him to leave, and he wanted to leave, he wanted out. But then we get this second side, which is, oh no, actually, I don't think he did. I think he was digging it. So yeah. Again, cool way to develop the story of the song without introducing unnecessary conflict, unnecessary things. I think like the biggest offender of this was I can't remember the exact song. Ariana Grande. It was one of the Ariana Grande songs I covered a few weeks or months ago. Hold on, let me get the exact song. Damn it, don't lost That Boy Is Mine. Yeah, I covered That Boy Is Mine by Ariana Grande. And yeah, in that song, the second verse is basically useless. It does nothing for the song. It's stupid. And so this is not that way. This is a cool second verse. So we get another chorus